Alright, I want you to have a look at these two versions of me. It's the same person, but completely different mindset and a completely different body. A few years ago, I was skinny fat with hardly any muscle mass and, excess body fat which I didn't want around my body, and I tried numerous things in my life to get rid of it, but clearly nothing seemed to be working for me. But today, I'm going to tell you exactly what changed from the training, the food, and the habits that I had to adopt every single day, but most importantly, the things I had to cut out completely. And look, this isn't a program I'm trying to sell you guys, I'm just telling you what's worked for me. So let's get straight into the video. Alright, so let me be real with you from where I was starting from, because I feel like a lot of you guys are going to recognize this. I wasn't obese, but I wasn't visibly out of shape, which would be obvious to everyone around me. I was just someone who was just skinny fat with very low muscle mass, and quite frankly, I would look very soft and undefined. And what's worse is the fact that I thought I was doing everything right, with the idea of having 5 to 6 meals a day like every other fitness page would tell me to online, and also snacking to keep your metabolism up, which apparently is a thing. And not only that, training without any sort of real structure or intensity behind it. And from that point, I knew that nothing was changing. And the most frustrating part was the fact that I was putting so much effort and seeing zero return for it. And I knew from that point I had to change completely in how I approach training and how I approach food. And here's what exactly changed from that point. Alright, so I'm starting off with diet, because I believe this is where the real transformation begins. And there's a famous saying that goes something along the lines of, you cannot outwork a bad diet, and honestly that couldn't be any truer, because I tried that and it didn't work at all. And for anyone who's doing that, please cut it out completely, because you're not going to see any results at all. Alright, so the first thing that I did, which went against everything that I've been told online, was keeping my meals to 2 or even sometimes 3 meals a day. That's it, full stop. No snacking in between meals. And I know what you're thinking, won't that slow your metabolism down? And that's the myth I believe too. Because what ends up happening is every time you snack, you're causing your insulin levels to spike up, which allows you to store more fat than for it to burn. And from that point, I knew that I had to keep my eating window as restricted as possible if I want to see visible results. And here's what exactly shifted from that point. Which brings me to the number one habit that I adopted in my daily life, and most importantly, it fast-tracked my progress more than anything else, was intermittent fasting. When I first heard about intermittent fasting, I thought it was a bit of a gimmick. I just thought it was just one of those fancy trends in which fitness influencers would move on from in 3 months, but boy was I wrong. So here's what I would do. I would compress my eating window to the point where I don't have my first meal up until 2 o'clock, but before that, what I would do is I would have either black coffee, water, or even sparkling water to help suppress my appetite, so at least that way I'm not thinking about food in the morning. And when it did come to the time where I would have my first meal, I would have full-on proper meal with the likes of natural sources of whole foods with protein, fiber, and fats, so at least that way I'm giving my body what it needs the most for it to be nourished. And what this creates is an extended period where your body's insulin levels stay as low as possible. And that is the key mechanism here. Keeping your body's insulin levels as low as possible allows your body's ability to access fat as fuel. And this is why intermittent fasting works. But here's the part that people skip over the most when it comes to intermittent fasting, is the fact that they think it's an overnight fix. That is not true at all, because the first week is going to be very uncomfortable. The second week is going to be very uncomfortable. Your body's habituated to be eating at certain times, and it will tell you it's hungry even though it really isn't. You just have to push through the adaptation period to the point where if you stick to intermittent fasting for a couple of weeks, your energy levels will then stabilize, your body will start to recalibrate, and your hunger signals will then start to change due to consistent periods of intermittent fasting. And this is one of the things about adopting a habit, such as this, because it's either you do it properly or you don't bother at all. My non-negotiables are nutrient-dense whole foods with the likes of eggs, salmon, red meat, and also chicken. These are the staples because I know it contains high quality protein, natural sources of fat, and also foods that, they're gonna fuel you for your recovery and promote muscle growth. Healthy fats are a big part of why I eat. Avocados, olive oil, and eggs again. And I just want to be clear on this. Fats is not your enemy. Picking the right fats is essential because they support your hormones, your brain function, and also your energy levels, which allows you to perform optimally during the day and has allowed me to be in the best condition of my life. So therefore, no obsessive calorie counting, but every meal of mine is intentional. Now, this is the part in the diet conversation in which no one talks about in depth, and I believe this is one of the most impactful changes that I've made in my life. And it's not about what you eat, it's about what you cook your food in. And I think that's very important to know. The oils and the fats that I use in my foods are avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, butter, and ghee. These are the staple because it handles heat very well and it supports your body rather than working against it. And the oils that I will cut out completely if I was you guys are seed oils. These are high inflammatory oils which cause more harm than good to your body, and what's up happening is when you cook these oils in foods, they become oxidized, which in return promotes chronic inflammation. And let's be honest, inflammation isn't just any other buzzword. It affects your overall recovery, your long-term health, and your ability to build muscle and lose fat. So this is one thing I would completely avoid in your diet if I was you guys. Here's the part that gets most people. You'll think you're eating clean, but the restaurant that cooked your food in has vegetable oil in it. The sauce you're using has rapeseed oil in it. It's in almost everything that comes in a packet. I hold the line when it comes to seed oils. It doesn't come through my door, but when I'm eating out, I can't always control it. But when I'm at home, that's a non-negotiable. Okay, so let's move on to training. I want to set something straight before getting into this because I feel like there's a slight misconception that needs addressing. So I go to the gym because I love going to the gym, and I like to focus on simple compound movements. These movements consist of bench press, squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, and also rows. Because I feel like these exercises allow you to build real muscle, and you can also progressively overload over time, which allows you to lift more, add more reps to your sets, which helps trigger the growth mechanism that will in return help promote muscle growth. And your body only changes because you give it a reason for it to. But here's the thing, and this is something that I really want you to hear. The gym is just a tool, it is not a requirement. The same exact training principles that I apply in the gym also apply at home, with zero equipment. And exercises like push-pull legs, you can also focus on doing progressive overload through reps, tempo, and difficulty rather than just added weight. And I'm not giving you a separate home workout plan, and it shouldn't feel like a separate thing. It's the same session, same structure, same intensity, same intention, but just a different location. Whether you're in the gym with every piece of equipment available to you, or you're in your living room with absolutely nothing, I think the key to growth here is challenge, pushing your body past to the point where it wants to stop. And I feel like if your sessions are too comfortable, you need to add more reps, slow down the tempo, increase the intensity, something that's going to help trigger the growth mechanism. And because at the end of the day, the environment is irrelevant, but the effort is absolutely everything. Outside of training and food, there are a handful of daily habits that quietly compound your results over time, and I'll keep this one tight. The first daily habit here is sleep, 7 to 8 hours. This is a non-negotiable. Sleep is when muscles are built and hormones reset. And if you're training hard in the gym and you're sleeping 5 to 6 hours a day, you are actively working against yourself. I protect my sleep as much as I protect my training. The second one here is water, 2 to 3 liters a day. I feel like this one is also non-negotiable, and we all know that chronic dehydration often tanks your performance, your energy levels, and also your ability to recover well. And I feel like most people are nowhere near where they should be on this. And the third habit here, which I feel like is probably the most slept on, is daily movement, even on your rest days. So guys, hit your 5 to 10k steps walking, take the stairs, be on your feet. Just all you gotta do is just don't let recovery days be your sedentary days. Your metabolism doesn't take a day off, and neither should you. All you gotta do is just dial the intensity back. That's all. And lastly, the most important one, which I feel like is not the most talked about, is consistency over perfection. Because I feel like nowadays people obsess about perfection, having the perfect diet, the perfect training, the perfect everything. But I feel like perfection doesn't really exist in that realm. I feel like the main thing here, if you want to see success and results, it's more about consistency, having the ability to show up even if you don't feel like it. And that's where discipline comes in. The ability to show up even if you don't feel like it, and that's when true progress compounds. Alright, so let me quickly cover the other side, the things that I cut out. I feel like removing the wrong things is just as important as adding the right ones. So here's what I cut out. The first one here is snacking. This was probably the worst one out of them all, because every time I would snack, my insulin levels would spike up to the point where I got hungrier, I ate more than I needed, and it was causing more of a hindrance towards my training and my overall performance. So this one had to go completely if I ever wanted to see results. And the second one on this list is seed oils. Yes, you want to cut this one out completely out of your diet, and this is pretty self-explanatory. Like I mentioned previously, seed oils tend to cause a lot of chronic inflammation in the body, which affects your performance in the gym, as well as your recovery levels and your overall body composition, which can affect your overall long-term health. And this is something that I would avoid completely out of your diet and should aim for healthy alternatives instead. And lastly, I feel like this is probably a big one, expecting fast results. And if I be honest and transparent with you guys, this transformation took me time. The idea of me doing intermittent fasting took me a couple of weeks for my body to be even adapted to it. And for me to build muscle, it took me a couple of months for me to see even noticeable results. And if anyone's trying to promise you will see a dramatic physical change within a short period of time, is lying to you. because the real results come from doing the right things over a consistent period of time, and that is when motivation starts to fade away, and that's when discipline comes in. I wasn't starting off from a great position, I didn't have a personal trainer, and I didn't have a perfect diet, and I didn't have any sort of genetic advantage which would have made this easy. But what I had was the willingness to question everything that I knew, and the discipline to stick with something that actually works for a consistent period of time. No snacking in between, intermittent fasting done consistently, training 3-4 times a week, cooking the foods in the right oils, and incorporating daily movement as well as proper hydration and nutrient-dense whole foods with the likes of eggs, salmon, chicken, and red meat. And that's it, nothing else. And that's the whole thing. It sounds straightforward because it is. Straightforward is not the same as easy. Easy version of me would be skipping sessions when I don't feel like it, snacking all day, and also telling myself that I'll start my next session next week. But for me, I chose the other version, and this is what it looks like. And if this video gave you something, even if one thing you're going to take away and actually use in your daily life, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also drop a comment down below in terms of where you are in your fitness journey, whether you're someone who's still in the skinny fat phase, or if you're someone who's actively trying to build muscle and lose fat, but you're not seeing the results as you would expect. Just drop a comment down below and let me see what I can do to help, because having gone through all the trials and tribulations myself and seeing what's worked for me, I feel like I can provide a lot of value here. And guys, remember, if I can do it, so can you. So no excuses. So yeah, if you have any sort of questions or anything related to fitness or content, just drop a comment down below and let me see what I can do to help, and I'll reply to each and every single one. And if you did like this video, make sure to smash that like button and also hit that subscribe button, of course, which helps me and encourages me to make more content like this. And yeah, other than that, guys, I will catch you in the next one.